Good morning, it's Tuesday, June 7th. And guess what? There were at least 10 mass shootings in the U.S. since Friday. That's following the massacres that took place in Uvalde and Buffalo. In Philadelphia, 3 people died and 11 others were injured. Then there were 3 others killed and at least 14 injured in a Chattanooga shooting. And 8 people were shot at a high school graduation party in Summerton, South Carolina. And 1 person was killed there, just 1 person. Who cares, you know? And several other shootings that have caused various law enforcement entities to remain on alert all around the country. What are we going to have, a standing group of police and law enforcement and other kinds of security guards on call all the time because these mass shootings won't stop? And this is when there's supposedly bipartisan talks about gun legislation. Well, why don't they just make it simple? Increase the background checks, ban the assault rifles, and then worry about the other shit later on. You got to take a major step to make people understand that shooting is not the answer, right? But you know, gun regulations just continue to stall and fail, and the shootings continue. It's almost like the shooters are telling us, screw you, we're going to continue to do this, and there's no way that you can stop us. And we have 400 million guns in this country, so what are you going to do about it? And so we're going to look there and take this shit forever? Every day? There's a mourning? There'll be funeral services? How about maybe the funeral service people, right? Are in league with the gun shooters? It keeps them busy. Maybe there should be a tax on gun owners. You buy a gun, you pay a funeral tax. Then maybe they'll stop shooting people. If every time somebody was shot and killed by a gun in this country, then we taxed all the people who own guns. And then we pay for those funerals. They pay for the funerals. Maybe that's the way to go. You know, the people bitch about having to have insurance on your cars. Well, maybe you need to have gun insurance, because who knows when the next lunatic is going to go loose. It's a crazy situation. Every day there's a couple more people killed, and we're not doing anything about it. And we can't do anything about it. We talk and we say. And then I listened to Face the Nation, and I listened to Senator Pat Toomey from Pennsylvania. And he had been writing gun legislation for 20 years, and nothing has passed. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that a guy has dedicated 20 years in the Senate to writing gun legislation? Not banning anything, writing new legislation, writing about background checks, and about rifles, and about ammunition clips and everything. And changing his statements all the time and working with different Democrats to write these laws, banning assault rifles partially, banning guns partially. And they're working on this for 20 years. And now, in the middle of all of this writing and everything, what do we have? 10 mass shootings over the weekend, 8 mass shootings, whatever the number is, too many. 1 is too many. But we have multiples all over the country. This is not like we say it's not too bad in New York. It's not too bad in California. It's bad all over this country. It's bad in the states where they allow guns and have open carry laws and everything. And it's bad in the states where there are tough laws. And the guns are getting transported illegally from one state to the other, and we have no way of doing anything about that. So there has to be a concrete action taken. No excuses, no anything. Background checks, the full works, and add to it the fact that if you own a gun, you have to carry gun insurance. And if somebody gets killed by a gun, you pay. You pay even though you had nothing to do with it. Every time there's a shooting, every person that owns a gun is responsible. That's what I say. That's the way to do something. And then they'll complain. They'll complain because they're being singled out as a gun owner. And that's a bad thing. I have my gun for protection. And 99% of these people would have their gun at the right time to protect themselves. Even if they're walking around with it. If they walked around with it and they had it in their holsters and they were ready to draw at a moment's notice, are they going to kill some guy who has body armor and an AK-15 or an AR-15, some assault rifle with 30 bullets in his magazine? Are they going to draw fast enough to kill this guy? No. So this whole bullshit with, I need the gun to protect myself. I need to protect my family. You can't do it. Wake up. Wake up. You cannot protect yourself. I don't care how many guns you have. You're not going to protect yourself because you don't know who the enemy is. It's going to be some nice little 19-year-old kid with blonde hair, a little fuzz on his face. Everything is combed nicely. Bright blue eyes. You're going to come in there and blow your brains out, right? And that's acceptable. That's acceptable to most of these people. They're fighting for guns. Keep my gun. I need my gun. They probably sleep with their guns. They love their guns so much. But they don't love the children in this country. They don't love the adults in this country. They don't love the places where we can gather in peace. Not the gun owners. None of them. None of them. They have no excuse. They have no excuse except to step up and turn in their guns. If we had a movement where people started turning in their guns and closing the gun shops and making it tough on the gun manufacturers, then maybe we would have a fighting chance against all the gun violence that's going on in this country. Because you can't convince me that there's any good reason for most people to have a gun. And you know what? I'm tired of reading that every Monday morning, how many people got shot over the weekend. Maybe everybody should work 6 or 7 days a week so they don't have time to go out and shoot people. Of course, when you got a 16 or 17 or 18-year-old kid who's a shooter, when he belongs in school, that's where the whole population has deteriorated. That's where we have hit ground zero. So I have no good answer except that we need to take a monumental step. We can't keep futzing around with all of these different rules. If we took one thing and made it happen, like ban the assault rifles, increase the background checks, and don't worry about anything else, that'll come next. So I leave you with my anger this morning, and I hope you have a great day in spite of me. Bye.